It's getting better. It's getting better. It's getting better. Every single moment, every every moment is getting better and better and better. And the Democrats are freaking out because they know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to say this again, my friend. I'm going to tell you right now. They're freaking out, and I am loving this. Loving it for a variety of reasons. We're going to start off with the obvious. We're going to start off with something very, very simple, very, very obvious. Very, very, very simple. And it works something like this. It is falling apart, and they have nothing to do. They have nothing to share. They have nothing at all to show you regarding Carmelita. Nothing. Kamala. Nothing. She is nowhere to be found. She is supposedly in the thick of campaigning. Normally, you're all over the place, but they can't do it because she's a moron. A blithering moron. The likes of which nothing, we have never seen this. So we're going to go through it. Also, September the 18th, will Trump be sentenced? Andy McCarthy seems to think so. I will let you know about what I think about that notion of his. But in the meantime, I'm having the time of my life. And I'm so glad you're with us. So my friends, please make sure you sit back. Make sure you like this thing. Liking it is the currency of all that we do. Please do us a favor and like what you do. Like this. Like it and love it. It means so much to us. And in the meantime, make sure you verify that you are subscribed. But listen to this important and this critical and this absolutely vital word from our incredible and important and vital sponsor. There's a revolution happening right now above our heads. It's about to make silver more precious than ever. The sun's power is taking over the world. It's growing so fast, it'll be the biggest source of electricity by the 2030s. Solar. Now here's the kicker. Every single solar panel needs silver to work. We're talking about a silver paste web in every panel, turning sunlight into power. Smart investors are already making their move, and that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. With a silver IRA, you can surf this incredible wave of growth. It doesn't matter who sits in the White House or what Wall Street does. Solar power is unstoppable, and silver is its secret weapon. As the world goes green, your retirement could be going sterling silver. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers in 2024. Visit LionelNationGold.com. You may get up to 10 free brand new 1-ounce silver Trump coins. Listen to that. Or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar with every qualifying IRA. That's LionelNationGold.com. Remember, there's always a risk of investment, and there's no guarantee of any kind. Now, my friend, where do I begin? Where do I even begin? By the way, I found a clearer picture of that for you. And I can do this as soon as I am done with this, my darling. But I'm going to send this to you right now. Don't mind us. Where do we begin? First, let's go through a couple of things here, shall we? And this is important, and this is oh so critical. Number one, the Democrats are freaking out as we speak because she is nowhere to be found. They are doing everything. And you cannot listen. You cannot hang on every single word and every single statement from Joe Rogan to this one. It doesn't matter. There was a story supposedly that Fox News says he's up. No, he's not. Nope. It's too early. I worry about you. Our good friend Duluth says, I was in Sturgis. I wore a Trump shirt. Half the bikers said they won't vote for him. Crazy. Okay. It's all right. I wish I could. Okay. I don't know. You have to, whenever you deal with people like that. And by the way, thank you for your comment. You got to act like I understand. You act like this. It's kind of like you're saying, I understand. You don't understand. I understand. What? I understand you can't vote for him. He's not for everybody. And there's nothing more fun than to say, what do you mean he's not for everybody? He's not for everybody. He's not. Look, I understand it. Certain tastes, certain people, I get it. He's a lot to handle, and a lot of people just don't understand him. What do you mean somebody don't understand him? No, they don't understand. Look, they don't understand him. You don't understand. They don't understand him. I don't blame him. Or are you saying I don't understand him? Well, maybe not. I'm just saying it's okay. He's not for everybody. He's a lot to handle. Not everybody. Let's face it. That's the way I do it. I make it sound like, well, of course you're not going to. You can't vote for him. That drives people probably more. What do you mean you can't? No, I don't. You can't vote for him. So don't worry about it. I understand completely. It's like, what? Well, your friends won't let you, right? No, I understand. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. What are you going to do? Look, let me explain something to you. I wish I could tell you how many times I have to deal with this on a regular basis. Okay? And I'm telling you, everything now that's happening now, but what is going to change later on? Let me ask you this question. And I know, believe me, nobody wants to hear this story. But the problem is, sometimes we just don't know certain things. What do you think is going to actually be the result, the actual result, the effect, dare I say, the effect that people will have or that people will feel regarding this National Guard business? What do you believe? Anything? Do you see anything? What do you believe will be the effect? Tell me. Do you think it has any play? Does it have any importance? Does it matter to anybody? Does it matter? It kind of sort of does now. Well, what does it mean? Well, he said he was command sergeant major. Okay. And what? And what? What about it? Well, what about it? Do you think it's going to have an effect? Do you think people down the road are going to feel something? Do you feel that down the road this is going to stick? As I tell you right now, the effects of this are, let me see. We're looking at, we're looking at 83 days. Do you think for 83 days? No, it's not going to stick. No, it's not going to stick. So we'll talk about it now for a moment. Soul 76 says, mindset of DNC, CIA shadow government has morphed from an openly become some of, is that of mob families, Meyer Lansky, Lucky Luciano. The mindset of DNC, CIA shadow government, has morphed from and openly become the same as that of mob families. Sort of. I mean, it is, maybe. It's sort of. I heard something right now which was the most important story of them all. And if you could understand, if you could absolutely understand this. And let me explain something about this. He said he was command sergeant major. He was master sergeant. He said he was there for 24 years. Okay, but he was there for the weekends. He was on. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that he's lying, and it knocked them off a little bit. And they're going to debate They're going to debate. Do you hear what I'm saying? They're going to debate. It's going to be the most important debate anybody's ever seen. And he can't spend forever time on it. It's just, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, he can't spend forever on that. I know this may mean something to you, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the most important thing in the world. Now, let me tell you what's interesting right now. Linear TV, linear media are just collapsing. Bob Iger recently said in I forget some particular event, he said, and this is important, it's over. I don't know when. Linear TV is the type of TV that you're used to and we were used to when we were growing up. It was that thing that said, ABC, you had this event, this show during this time, and all this, jazz. It's kind of sort of just comes out of, I don't know what the word is, just comes out of 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9, and you got it, and you saw CBS, ABC, CNN, whatever, at this time, and these shows appeared. It's the typical way we used to see things. It's what we see things as. It's what we are used to. Okay, you got it? Okay, terrific. That is going to be, I am telling you, that is going to be the end of everything. It changes everything. Everything. Do you hear what I'm saying? Everything. It changes everything. What we're going to be seeing right now is something which is very, very important. Very, very critical. And what it is the way we're going to be seeing things from now on. And we're seeing things in a way that's very important. We're seeing things, appointment TV, when we want it. When we want it, whenever we want it. That's it. It's done. They don't understand it. They don't grasp what's happening right now. This is, to me, one of the most, the other night, and these stupid idiots still don't understand it. The other night was one of the most important and critical things ever. It was the night when we saw something for the first time. There it was. There it was. There it was. This event of all events. And they laughed at it. They didn't know what it was. Oh, it was running late a little bit at first. It was kind of confusing. It was kind of slow at first, but there it was. And it was the most fascinating thing anybody's ever seen. And it changed everything. And it showed this is where we're going. This is where the world is going now. This is where everything is going. At that moment, and they say right now, if you believe it, you probably don't. Maybe you don't. I don't know if you do. You don't have to believe it. But they said 1 billion people heard this. 1 billion people heard this. 1 billion people heard this. That's the most incredible thing in the world, if you think about it. 1 billion. I'm fascinated by that. And then I'm thinking to myself, where's Kamala? Now, you may think this is important, or maybe not, but somewhere somebody's going to say, hey, we haven't heard anything from her. Shut up and keep clapping. That's what they're telling people. Shut up and keep clapping. Just keep clapping. We don't want to hear what you have to say. Just keep clapping. Isn't it great? Well, I guess it's great. Isn't it great that she's running? Yeah. Well, then be quiet. And that's exactly what's happening. How long do you think this is going to maintain? How long do you think? I mean it. How long do you think they can keep her quiet? That's the issue. Now, is it critical that she basically advocated at some point? Now she's advocating for no tax on tips, but she was the deciding vote and spoke against it. Why? Because she doesn't know what she's doing. Is that going to be a big deal? Not really. They're going to have fun with it now. But in the long run, that's really not it. So what are we looking for? We're looking at something which is even more important. We're looking at the slow and the gradual kind of a lot, the slowing down of momentum. Just where things aren't, and this is what I want, just things aren't kicking. Nobody's really thrilled about this. Things aren't the way we thought. It's like, yeah, at first, and then it's like, okay, she hasn't said anything. She has a rally, but nothing happens. She has to kick. She has to connect. And this is something, I mean, theoretically, she could. I don't believe she'll be able to. But theoretically, she might be able to sit there and score a home run, the likes of which nobody ever saw. I don't think that's going to happen. But she theoretically could. So the question you got to ask is, how long are they going to push her aside? How long are they going to push her in the background? How long is this going to happen? That's the critical part. Now, things are going to be happening very, very seriously. Trump's going to start pushing and pushing and pushing. But the J.D. Vance thing, let me once and for all say, J.D. Vance is, I don't understand why people think J.D. Vance is such a big deal. J.D. Vance would be a big deal if he was making gaffe after gaffe. Did you ever hear the story about his wife had a crush on Vivek Ramaswamy? Didn't they name their kid? I don't know. You're going to hear all kinds of stuff like that. Does it really matter? No, it doesn't matter. DeLu says, not half of bikers said that half of the bikers I chatted with said that. To each their own. Not half of bikers. Now, tell me what this means. Not half of bikers said that half of the bikers I chatted with said that. Okay, to each their own. I don't know what that means, but it's interesting. It's like half of the half of the half. You know what I mean to say? And with all due respect, so what? I don't care. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. Go down and look what's very interesting right now. I'm not going to read the RCP piece to you because that's getting kind of boring, but that's the first thing I would do. Now, look at some of the stories which I think are kind of sort of interesting. Taliban parade U.S. gear. Ooh, not good. The Taliban held a military parade at Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan, showcasing American military equipment left behind during the U.S. withdrawal in 2021. Not good. Is that going to make a difference? Could be. Could, but not enough. Not enough. Not the worst thing. Vice President Harris faces inflation criticism. By the way, I'm looking at X right now. This is interesting. They are really upset about inflation. And all President Trump has to do, dear friends, is to ask her a question specifically about that. Ask a question specifically about inflation and watch what happens. Why? She is an idiot. Now, I want to talk to you about something which is the most important. And I want to bring this up to you now. We believe on September the 18th, Judge Merchan will be sentencing Donald Trump. What's he going to do? Now, remember, OA, never say who cares. Ask if the right people care. Say, do the right people care? Somebody cares about something all the time. Who cares may mean something to me. Who cares may be like, well, who cares? I don't care. Yeah, but do these people care? That's it. So always ask the question, do the right people care? Who are the right people? So what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? And why? What do you think is going to happen? Now, what I'm saying is, when you ask most people, they haven't the foggiest idea one way or the other. Well, what is it? What's usually the sentence? I don't know, but they will immediately answer the question like you've never seen it before. It never ceases to amaze me. Why? Because we live in a world of instant expertise. They know everything. They know everything. Of course. What are you talking about? Absolutely. Or no way. Now, when people are saying something, why do you believe what is your position? When somebody says suspended sentence, probation, jail, federal time, state time, jail time, half and half, split sentence, what's your basis for it? What is your basis? You have no idea. Here's what I think is going to happen. Number one, nobody wants to hear this, but I'm going to tell you the truth. The Judge Bershon, at the end of the day, has to make sure he doesn't come across like a lunatic. Why is that? Because anything, any chance for future judgeship, it could be either state Supreme Court. In New York, it's called the Court of Appeals. Any federal judgeship, anything. You have to make sure that he doesn't do anything off the charts. Murph says, my lib friends demand a female. Demand a female for what? Just curious. Thank you, Murph. Demand a female for what? I don't know what that means. But thank you. Thank you. Now, he has been found guilty. He has been, for all practical purposes, convicted. Here's what I was thinking about, and I think this makes the most sense. And I've talked to some pretty good people, including some jurists and judges, and who would rather not be on the record. So I'm just going to tell you what I think, and I think it makes a lot of sense. First and foremost, do you know what the biggest problem he faced? The biggest problem he faced is the contempt. He holds contempt citation, the tweeting or whatever it was that he did. That is the thing that judges absolutely 100% say you have every right, every ability, everything, every single thing. You must maintain the integrity of the court, and you must deal with this. So, the following could take place. For the sentence of contempt, 10 days, 3 days, to be served, for example, in a non-usual, not in jail, but something where you show up to a court for 3 hours or you do something, and then all of this to take place after the election. After. Thank you, Murph. After the election. Well, he's sentencing him now. No, he's pronouncing the sentence, but nothing will take place. Nothing will commence until after. As far as the actual charges themselves, the actual 34, he's looking at like 136 years. If you were to add them up consecutively, it's stupid. It would never happen. Then what you're looking at is possibility of this. Don't be surprised if it's called an adjournment in contemplation of dismissal. It's almost like non obstante verdicto, judgment NOV. It's yeah, I understand it, and all of this after the election. Nobody could possibly ever countenance a federal presidential election to be interrupted by somebody being taken out and put it before this, at the most critical time of campaigning. It's just not going to happen. If he does that, people that hate Trump, and I know you might be surprised, but there are people who actually hate him. Even they would say, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You can't do this. You can't possibly put somebody in jail, in prison or jail, before the presidential election. You can't do this. You will make history books, but in the wrong way." The judges even realize, wait a minute, hold it. Now, you can, make it look good. You can suspend a sentence. You could pause it. You can do a variety of things. But you cannot, in any way and in good conscience, actually do this. You can't. It's so, prediction, or rephrase, what I and a lot of others will do. Stick with the contempt. Now you're not dealing with the verdict, but you're dealing with his behavior in court, which I think makes a lot of sense. Very, very interesting. Next, and this is critical. Something that kicks in or is suspended or is delayed, suspended until after the election. And at that time, who knows what happens? Then they can commute the sentence, vacate the sentence, all kinds of stuff. Kathy, I mean, believe it or not, I know it sounds crazy. A governor might want to, believe it or not, it might be for the purposes of history or whatever it is, to vacate the sentence, commute the sentence, whatever it is. But this thing is going nowhere. He is not going to be sentenced to jail, not going to be sentenced to prison, not going to be, not. Nothing is going to get in the way of his running or actually campaigning or actually completing his attempt at re-election. It's just not going to happen. He would be forever scolded, chided, hated. They would say, "You can't do this. You can't possibly do this. It's beyond anything anybody's ever seen before. You can't do this. You can't." Okay, you got that point. Now, there's some other interesting cases too. Don't forget, there are remember those other cases, those Arizona, remember that Jenna Ellis and all those cases with who is it? Not McCarthy, but with, what's his name? With Rudy and with, those false elector cases. That thing's not done with. Trump might be an unindicted co-conspirator. He may be kind of, in the background. They're not going to do anything with him there. So that part's really not his concern. That's it. Now, as far as the DC cases, I don't think she would have any, Judge Chutkin or whatever, I don't think she would have any problem whatsoever. But even then, there's a very serious problem where even the most ardent anti-Trump people would say, we can't do this. You cannot. I mean, we look bad as it is, but you can't do this. You can't. We cannot do this. Now, right now, 2 days are going to be important. Number one, September the 10th. September the 10th is a debate. The other one is going to be the debate with J.D. Vance. And J.D. Vance can absolutely... Now, Walz is not... Let's face it. Walz is not... AWOLz is not a pushover. He's smarter than... Who is it? Than Kamala. But still... It's going to be tough. And what are you going to do? You're going to say he's an extremist? What? People don't know anything about him. He's doing some of the weirdest stuff ever. His countenance, his behavior, his style is so freaky. I've never seen anything like it. I have no idea where he got this from. It's weird. It's strange. The hand dancing and really jazz hands or whatever you want to call it. It's weird. Very strange. Very strange. Very odd. Very odd. Very weird. It's very strange. Okay. All of that notwithstanding, the issue then becomes what's going to happen. That is going to be the first little when things start to kind of sort of settle down. Remember, next week or whenever during the DNC, it's going to be a love fest. You're going to see, I'm telling you, they've already written this. They've already written the story. They've already done it. There was the most fantastic Democrat. It showed unity, leadership. She's coming to her own. She's America's president. She speaks for women, abortion rights, and they will say things that she absolutely has nothing able to talk about. This is the most important thing in the world. She will have nothing able to say other than, hang on. He will have nothing able to say other than, get ready for this. You are going to hear things that are, I'm telling you, you're going to get sick. You're not going to believe what you're hearing. You will not you're going to hear numbers go up. You're going to hear poll numbers go up. You're going to hear about spikes and taking off. And there's going to be groundswell and the toss-up stage, all of these things. All of these things. Get ready for this. Get ready and brace yourself. You're not going to believe what's happening. And you'll be asking yourself a very, very simple thing. You'll be thinking to yourself very, very simple, very seriously. You'll be asking yourself, what is it that's going on here? What do I believe? What not to believe? What I'm telling you is that be careful. Because it doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they think. What happens to these independent and these uncommitted voters in the middle. That is a story. We've got the left and the right already locked in. What's going to happen? And that's going to be September, whatever. That's in a couple of weeks. In fact, the DNC is going to be in August 19th, 5 days. The 19th through the 22nd, 3 days. A lot of it's going to be virtual. I'm telling you, Joe's going to be there. It's going to be a Steven Spielberg production, literally. Our good friend Nelson A says, just in Fox News poll, just out, Trump leads Kamala by 1 point. Also, what you say about the September 18 Trump sentencing date, what effects can it cause? Like I said, if this were some totalitarian regime, it would basically, they would throw him in prison, and he couldn't campaign because he's in prison. He could still run. Article 2 has nothing to do with him being free, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And when you say Trump by one what? Now, I know nobody ever thinks about this. Nobody asks about this. But what are these polls? Who's doing the poll? Who is the sample size? Or what is the sample size? What is the sampling? Who are the people? What do the sample folks actually say? Critical. Who are these people? Can't say it enough. Can't put it. Who are the people? And what precisely do you think maintains this +1? Like I said. Now, remember something. And I know this is difficult for people to take or to understand, but I want you to understand this and grasp this. You've got to promise me, and I mean this as your friend, as Uncle Lenny, You've got to promise me that you're not going to go crazy over this. You've got to promise me that you're not going to go nuts. And that every time somebody says Trump's up, Trump's down, or if they tell you 5 polls are up or 5 polls are down, you can't go berserk. You can't do it. You will lose your mind. Lose your mind. You won't be able to sleep. Every single day there'll be another poll, another involvement, another. You can't do this. I know it's difficult, but the polls mean nothing. Remember when Hillary Clinton was told she absolutely is guaranteed. The New York Times guaranteed she would win. Now, in the meantime, what's important to know? Ask yourself, if you really have to pay attention to what's going on. I like to look at X. I like to take a brief kind of a view of, there's other stuff in the world that's going on that I think is important, but kind of get a scan of what Drudge is saying. Drudge is really bad, really absolutely bad. The Brad says, been going crazy every day, longest 3 months. Don't go crazy, not yet. It's not information. It's like the game just started. We're in the first quarter. We don't know anything yet. Just relax. Kind of get an idea. If you want to see sort of where they're going, look at the allegations that are being made. See how it twists. And remember, all I want you to know is ask one thing. How long can she not talk? They're going to watch the numbers. So far, they're going to say Kamala's up, Kamala's up, Kamala's up. It's even. And then remember, after the 19th, it's going to be even bigger. And then they're going to say, okay, when is she going to say? What is she going to say? Her speech at the convention is going to be very, very generic. Very, very generic. After that is done, and I know this sounds terrible, but I'm going to tell you something. Do you think everybody's going to watch the convention? No. We will. We'll be watching and see. And people are going to say what she said was wrong and everything. Okay, after she's done with the speech, that'll be very good. They will, of course, say it was the greatest speech anybody's ever heard. It's wonderful. It's terrific. And then it will turn into, okay, now what? Now we get into, get ready for the debate. That's September the 10th. What happens then? Absolutely critical. That's what happens then. Keep in mind this. Trump is going to be on the war path. He's going to be doing some things. I hope he starts saying things to pull her in. Say something that challenges her. Something that makes the rest of the world say, well, what about that? Something very, very biting. Something very, very pointed. That's what they need to do. But in the meantime, it's just too early. It is just absolutely too early. Remember something. Let me ask you this question. Assuming there is going to be a large contingent of Hollywood, where are they going to be shown? Where will the Hollywood people be seen? Where? On TV? Hope not. Nobody cares about that. Cable? Huh? She's limiting? Oh, she said Hollywood's too elitist. Well, that's a good way to piss them off. She's taking their money, but she's saying it's too elitist. So she's going to then have to go, obviously, social media. And social media is when our folks kick in. Because remember, the people that run social media are mostly people like Elon, Teal, and the folks in Silicon Valley. And what do the Democrats want? They want to go after crypto, and they also want to go after AI and AGI. Why? Because Hollywood's scared out of their mind about that. We've already talked about this. You're also going to be seeing you're going to see more and more protests, anger, mobs regarding Israel. She has been absolutely incoherent as to her thoughts as to Israel. She said nothing about this. We've said nothing. They're going to want answers. And for the first time, Americans are going to be saying, well, what is people? Most Americans don't know anything really about it. Watch what happens then. Watch what happens when they start, remember, they come back to school, hit the campus again, and all of a sudden you start hearing about these protests all over again. And the moves for stifling and for limiting speech as anti-Semitism. Then you're going to see people look at what's happening in the UK. Remember, they're online. And that's a huge story. That's a very complicated story. Very, very complicated. And the way they're portraying like Tommy Robinson is some kind of a nut. He's bought and sold. It's going to be interesting. These are very interesting times, my friend. Just now, the Colombia president resigned. So now that's going to be something that, believe it or not, interesting. Ilhan Omar survived her primary. I guess there's not going to be anybody else. So she made it. So AIPAC, who had indicated they were going to target her, they failed. Remember, they got, they're going after Rashida Tlaib next. They got Cori Bush and they got Bowman. So keep, that's a critically important part. Watch how people are telling Joe Rogan, be careful. Be careful. Are you endorsing somebody? Well, I'm not. Joe Rogan prediction is going to screw up someday so big. They want to take him out. You saw what they're doing to Mr. Beast, right? You know what that story is all about? Have you been following that? Maybe not. The bigger you are, the more of a target you are. They want to take you out. People feel that Joe Rogan kind of slithered away after that COVID business when Neil Young threatened to pull his catalog. Cowgirl in the Sand, lost forever. And Joe came forward and says, okay. And then later on he talked about, whatever. So remember that one. Joe didn't learn his lesson. Joe's still feeling he's sowing his oats. Joe doesn't realize that when he says about what a good speech Kamala made or how strong Trump was or bad, that's viewed as an endorsement. He's got to be careful. He still is the most important person around today. He still is it. And as I told you, linear TV, done. Done. That's cable. Hey, it's reliable sources. Hey, it's Kate. Oh, it's a 9 o'clock news. Oh, it's Rachel Maddow. Oh, it doesn't work like that. You want to be able to watch anything you want at any time you want. Do you know that the Sopranos are bigger now than they were when they were on TV? You know that, right? And there were kids who loved. Do you know why they loved the Sopranos? Because they can't believe they were that racist. They were that politically incorrect. They were that violent, and they love it. They're saying, you mean this was, yep, that was just 20 years ago. 20 years ago. These were kids. People love this. People want so much. Remember, the pendulum is going to swing back like a wrecking ball. See where Caitlyn Clark is just tearing up every record? Did you hear this? I love this. The basketball player. I have never watched women's basketball in my life until now. This is one. Oh, and Tiffany Henyard. Wait till they get Tiffany. Oh, my God. I got a piece coming up on her tonight, my friends. You're going to love that one. But listen to this. WNBA's Indiana Fever released mid-season growth numbers. This is according to Joe Pompliano. Ticket sales sold out 100% of season ticket inventory. Total attendance up 264% from last year. 186,000 fans have attended a Fever home game. 230,000 fans have attended a Fever road game. 1,193% increase in jersey sales. Team store transactions up 700% from last year. They broke the franchise single game merchandise sales record 4 times. Hot dog sales are up 300% so far this year. 2,826 gallons of draft beer have been sold in 2024. Plus, that's up 740%. Over 800 million views in the last 4 months alone. This is social media metrics. 1.3 million followers added since April 15th. The Fever have more social media views than any other WNBA, NBA, NFL, NHL, or MLB over the last 4 months. TV viewerships, 38 games on national TV this year, most in WNBA. Set records for most viewed WNBA games on ABC, ION, ESPN, and NBA TV. Corporate partnerships, 225% increase. Largest number of team sponsors in the WNBA. And the 2024 WNBA season is only about halfway over. And Caitlyn Clark is a game changer. This, I'm sorry how this can be, this white girl who doesn't have any tattoos, I don't think, who is a girl, a woman, a female, a cis female, who is just drilling 3-pointers one after another. She's been pushed and slugged. She is just this is fantastic. Because they didn't like her. Because they told her, hey, white girl. Not everybody did, but some people did. You know what they were doing. First of all, girl, and it's very chauvinist. You know what I mean? Can you think of any other WNBA other than Brittany Griner, who got arrested in Russia? Who, by the way, she cries at the national anthem because she says, because the U.S. got her back and all that. I don't know what that's about. Have you heard Brittany? Have you heard her voice? Have you heard her voice? She sounds like Robert Goulet. Holy God. This is I'm telling you, this Caitlyn, anytime, remember in the old days, who remembers Spud Webb? Never Spud, I forget, Falcon, Atlanta Hawks or something. I don't know who he played. He's like 5'8". Held the slam dunk contest. Remember that? I loved it. Do you remember who is old enough to remember when Bobby Riggs played first against Margaret Court, destroyed her, and then Billie Jean King killed him? It was the greatest work ever. Remember that? It was huge. I think it was at the Astrodome. Remember, it was Sugar Daddy. He had Sugar Daddy. Was it the candy? He came out with it. I mean, it was Bobby Riggs. Well, he said he threw it, but he's a hustler. I mean, let me tell you something. It's the most important. Certain things come about, and they're very, very important. Certain events and sports, sometimes the story goes beyond the usual things. When Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, when Babe Ruth saved baseball after the White Sox scandal, biggest thing ever. Babe Ruth you will never understand what this man did. Had a dead ball. That sounds painful, doesn't it? These dead, like rocks. Later on, these are corked. They fly better. Had basically a club. Sometimes in different baseball stadiums, ballparks, sometimes they wouldn't even mow the lawn or the field. Sometimes a ball there, and they're looking for it in the outfield. In the outfield, men would always bring their jackets. They didn't have night games; they had day games. So whenever Babe Ruth was up to bat, the opposing side, the men would take their jackets off. So he had this white background in the sun in the daytime, and he's Ty Cobb, one of the greatest ever. They used to water down the area in front of him. They called it Cobb's Pond. So he would bunt, the ball would just stick there. They would put lime or whatever up on third base line. Sometimes the ball would. I mean, they cheated. It was great. I mean, just dirty, great. And when sports transcends, it's fascinating. When it becomes in 1980, the Miracle on Ice, remember that? Mike Eruzione and the hockey against Russia. Jesse Owens, Hitler. Jesse Owens used to run on cinder. He brought his own little trowel, his own little. That's where he had to dig his own little divot to put his foot to race. They don't have those nice springy. If you correct all this stuff, he would be right there with Usain Bolt, right there. This is the most incredible thing. I'm telling you, you have to look beyond what the obvious is. Caitlyn Clark, God bless her. God bless her. I think it's wonderful. And is it a racial thing? Only because they made it a racial thing. That's all. And isn't it wonderful to see a woman celebrated as a woman in a woman's sport? A woman, not a man, a woman. Anyway, that's all I got to tell you. And my friends, Nelson A., the Brad, thank you so much. Nelson A., Murph, we love you. Duluth, Soul 76 Can, thank you. And you all have a great and glorious day. Don't forget to follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors. And listen to me. Uncle Lenny here appreciates the fact that you spend time with us. Thank you so much. Coming up later on this evening, a great video on my favorite, Tiffany Henyard, America's Supermayor. One of the most absolutely unintelligible. The most. Kamala Harris is Niels Bohr. Kamala Harris is eloquent. She doesn't say anything, but sounds good. Tiffany Henyard says nothing and sounds terrible. My favorite. Klana Steve Dreamkiller, Dr. Dreamkiller says, I only watch the Olympics for the white people breakdancing. How about Ray Gunn? Ray Gunn is my favorite. What a work that is. She looked, and by the way, she looked at some kind of a seizure, like some kind of, it's not even break. I don't know what the hell she's doing. Breakdancing in the Olympics. I didn't even know it was in the, I had, what is next? What, bridge? Maybe that might be. 3-card Monty. In any event, dear friends, have a great and a glorious night. Thank you so much for watching, dear friends. Remember, don't lose faith yet. I'll tell you when to lose faith. Things are looking great. Just watch what happens. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. And don't forget, until then, my friends, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Da-da.